action.
Hut Hut Podcast with my girl, Nicky Anosike. What's up?
Not much.
How we doing?
Great.
So it has been an honor and truly delightful to have you around here. Your
Thank
energy and obviously your high level of experience is. When I first opened Triple F, it's like I want all the people that played at the highest levels here to impact these kids. I don't care if you're tall and fat like me or short and skinny. I had lunch with a couple UFC guys yesterday that have been at the pinnacle of that world, and I love all these kids getting to see men, women of every different shape, size, color that have made it, so they can truly see that it's possible. There just hasn't been enough big time players kind of leave this community over the last 20 to 30 years, and it's ramping up, which is exciting. When I came out of high school, there was only a few of us. Now there's kids signing Power 5 and every sport around here, which is so cool. And to be able to jump in the training space. So I'm fired up you're here. You're so much fun to be around, so much fun to watch you coach. So let's start with the most important stuff.
Okay.
Those babies. How is it? Obviously, pregnancy was rough, and now they're here. They're happy. They're puking all over the facility. It's great. Reminds me of the good old days.
That's a true story.
All my kids can wipe their own butts at this point, which is nice. They just go to the bathroom, take care of themselves, and it's all good. But I remember those days. My two little brothers are twins, so I don't have any twins myself. But my mom talks about it, and God bless you.
It's tough.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's tough, but it's worth it.
Yeah. We got more on the way. You going to get back in action one of these days? What do you think?
I love kids. I would love to have more. Now is a little tough. The babies will be 2 in June, so I'm going to have terrible 2s. So I think once I get through that phase, maybe we'll try for more.
So when you have twins, like I said, my brothers were twins, but I don't really remember it. We were young, and they were their little pack, right? So it was like me, and then they were like cousins almost, because they were always together. They to this day they're thick as thieves, you know. Obviously they've been in the same womb together since day one. So do they feed off each other when they start acting up?
Yeah, like they have their own little language. Like I try to keep up, but I don't know what they're talking about. But they have their own little cute language, and they're best friends.
That is awesome. So your hubby, where is he from exactly again?
Nigeria.
Nigeria, that's what I thought. So English speaking his whole life?
English is his second language, but they do speak English in Nigeria. But, I mean, it's not like American English. So it's been a curve. It's been a learning curve.
He's awesome. He's always smiling. That's my guy. His energy's just like yours. He's the best.
He's a good guy.
So are we just English with the boys, or is there a plan to...
In our home, they speak Igbo. So I don't understand Igbo. My parents spoke it. They spoke it in the home, so I understand a little. But Chima is old school. He's an old school Igbo man, and he's like determined to teach those boys to understand and speak Igbo, and so they understand it better than English.
For real? That's awesome.
But I do try to give them the English, but we want them to be bilingual.
That's cool. I mean, everywhere they go, they're going to learn the English. So if they get that inside, that I think that's most Hispanic folks, and especially the kids, the younger generation of Hispanic folks around here, everything's Spanish at home, and then English everywhere else they go.
Right. I mean, my parents, they made a decision. They said they weren't going to teach us because they felt we were behind in the English when we went to school. And so they just wanted us to speak perfect English, and that was their focus. And now I feel like I kind of missed out on an opportunity to be bilingual because they didn't teach me. But they had 8 kids, like... I know that they had to prioritize, but I want that for my kids. I want them to know their native tongue.
Absolutely. That's cool. So where are you from originally?
I was born and raised in New York City,
Yep.
but my parents migrated here from Nigeria. Actually, my dad and my husband are from the same village, and so they immigrated here in the 70s.
That is awesome. So did Dad tell you, hey, we got to find you a Nigerian man? Most of your was that kind of understood, or did it just happen naturally?
Here's the thing. My father passed in 2017, and I met my husband in 2020. And I literally spoke to him for the first time on my dad's birthday. And I always had this feeling that he chose my husband for me from heaven. So I guess it was the proverbial match made in heaven.
That is awesome. Stuff like that gives me chills. I literally have chills right now. That is so cool. And like I said, he's so fun. Like when you pull in here, he's a mess, huh?
He's a good man.
That's awesome. He makes me laugh. I need to get him around here more. I know he works his butt off and takes care of you guys. So, and then on the anniversary, my father passed away a long time ago too. It's weird, like just weird things happen, like on the day he died, and it's cool. It's like you just kind of feel him sometimes. So I get that. I don't think he was still alive when I met Alicia, so I can't give my marriage to him, but it's wild how the good Lord works and all that stuff. So 2 twins, putting baby number 3, hopefully not baby number 3 and 4 on.
I would be happy with twins again. I mean, I loved the experience of being pregnant, and I was shocked when I was hospitalized because I thought up till then that I was pretty healthy. I was like always working out, and I was a healthy weight, and I was not expecting to be hospitalized. But up till then, I was enjoying my pregnancy. So I would love to be pregnant again, and I really, really loved the experience of becoming a mom. And so I would love to have twins again. Like, I love kids. I really do.
I was with my 15-year-old son, Brody, the other day. We were in the truck talking, and he's at that age to where, like, I'm not spanking him anymore. I'm not like, he's grown. 3 years from now, he's going to be saying, see ya. My wife will be crying on the doorstep. He'll be going off to college. It's crazy. But we were just talking, and I'm like, man, listen, I love you so much. I'll have your back no matter what. Like, we got to bury bodies together. Just let me know. It's me and you versus the world. But I didn't carry you. I didn't birth you. Like, there's no love in the world like what your mother has. It's just impossible for me to feel that. And being a man and like being so responsible for his character and his development, like I'm bad cop. And it's like the nurturing and love of a mother with her boys is wild. It's wild. It's so cool to watch. So you were coaching at Anderson County when you got pregnant, and then you had to step away, right? And you're here hanging with me, and we got some cool camps and stuff coming up that we'll be releasing soon and talking about. But is your passion team sports? Being a coach in team sports, what's your favorite thing to do basketball wise? Because you obviously want to stay around the game, huh?
I wouldn't say my passion is team sports. I'm good at coaching teams, but what I love about coaching teams are the personal, individual relationships. So my passion is really what I'm doing here. Like, I love when the light bulb, like, just switches on and the kids get it. Like, this is how I'm supposed to shoot. This is how I'm supposed to do a layup. Like, and I love when they come to me or they text me and say, Coach, I had a great game today. And I just love seeing the confidence that they get from putting in the hard work and then seeing it all pay off. And that's my passion.
I love it. And I think that's why we were such a good fit is like when I did Triple F, it was about the personal relationships. It was like they come to Coach Rich the most because they know he's the one responsible for the true programming. So when they have this success and they hit these benchmarks, they're like, yeah, Lee's the crazy mascot of the place, and I know he loves me, but man, Coach Rich is the one that got me there. And M too with the medical side and making sure everybody's staying healthy and growing, and obviously she's, Rich's right hand gal. But it's so cool, and that's why I wanted to have this membership model of like you got to be here, and you got to live here as much as possible, and obviously in season we're more on recovery and maintenance and making sure they don't dip. These are our kids, man, and it's so cool because they're so excited to come tell us their successes.
Yeah, I mean, I love what I'm seeing here. For the kids to understand and work towards their purpose at such a young age is huge. I mean, I see teenagers who don't even know their purpose. They're just wandering. And that breaks my heart the most. And I wish I could put a Triple F on every corner where the kids could just go and have a second home and a place where they're not judged and where they're loved and where they can work towards a goal and have a purpose. And, I have family members right now that are thinking about moving to Knoxville because I talk about Triple F and what you guys are doing for the kids. And it breaks my heart that this something like this is not everywhere.
Absolutely. And it blows my mind, really, because I tell people all the time, and I'm assuming the WNBA is very familiar with this. We'll get to the WNBA later, but not many professional athletes come from healthy married homes, and I call it my house has bricks on it, right? Like that's not normal in pro sports. If it has bricks on it, it's because Uncle Sam's paying for it, and your neighbors next door, and some of these inner city housing and different things. I mean, that's why these guys grow up, and why this hasn't happened before, I don't really understand, but I know for sure, based off of the outreach I've gotten in this short 8 months we've been open, dudes are like, oh my gosh, why didn't I think of that? And now, hopefully, it just explodes. And whether it's Triple F or it's a different brand behind another person that wants to truly help these kids, male, female, but I definitely think former pros is huge, just because we're so experienced with diversity and people from different backgrounds. And Nicky Anosike with Nigerian parents, and some of the other girls that were your homies back in the ball days, they're from all different places around the world, and especially around our country. And it's just cool. So it fires me up. I'm excited, and I'm glad you're here because you're about the same things I'm about. So, Mama, basketball coach, passion is just kids' growth. And that's something that we'll drop NALB on the pod for the first time. No athlete left behind. And you know much about the scholarship program I've built.
You haven't spoken to me much about it.
So let's just release it right now, by goodness. So and we're gonna start letting the community know. Right now, I'm just hitting up my teammates, and I got a lot of friends that are passionate about boys and girls that are growing up in unideal situations, that are great at sports, and sports is their one way out. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to find, Emerald Youth here in town. I don't know if you've ever been over. They do such a great job. I got to get with them first because they're the gold mine and just the cream of the crop for good intentions, like they do everything for the right reasons. They give these kids a safe place. It's a boys and girls club on steroids. But in ALB, what I want to do is I want in this town us to find the most elite athletes that have nothing, essentially, that are just so broken and from home lives that are less than ideal. I don't know if this is public knowledge, but kids don't get to pick their parents or upbringings, right? So some of these kids, either dad's not around, so they've never seen a real man operate. And then all of a sudden now they get to be around Triple F, me, Darius, Rich, all the men that are here, all the other dads that come to pick up their sons. Hey, that's what's supposed to be happening, dude. Right. Your dad's supposed to be here picking you up. So fast forward 10 years, when you're a father, don't make this same mistake. Right. And just really building up the men in this community, but our most elite athletes, female, male, football, basketball, baseball, soccer, it doesn't matter. And we've reached out to athletic directors and coaches and as many people as we can to just say, hey, your studs that either are malnourished or are going home to places that are unideal, get them to us. And we'll raise the money to fund it, and we'll pay for their memberships here, and they get everything that every other kid gets. And what's cool is maybe we have a smaller little, not Emerald Youth, because they do they're so grand. Like they've just killed it, and it's so cool what they've been able to build. It's awesome. But maybe there is a Triple F on the east side of Knoxville at some point to where it's just a safe haven. And we have a couple coaches in there. I mean, all it takes is a little money, right? like get the right people behind you that are passionate about athletics and children, and no athlete left behind. And I hate that I say the most elite players, but right now that's all we can really handle here. Who knows what God has planned? There might be two Triple Fs.
I'm praying. I pray you can open it up on the east side.
Yep.
It would really just revolutionize what's going on over there, because I know there are talented athletes there, but no opportunity.
Yeah, and we're gonna do it. I want to build Rome in a day. That's my problem. My business partner's always like, brother, just relax. When I told Rich and them we were doing combine guys 3 or 4 months into opening, they're like, my God, Lee. So I need to.
I appreciate that vision, because I have heard so many people say they were going to build this, and it never materialized. So, I mean, yeah, it's good to have a vision, but, I mean, you're actually doing it. Like, I appreciate it. And my kids are going to be a part of Triple F, like, whether you like it or not. I can't wait to sign them up. They're not even 2 yet, but whatever age I can sign them up, I'm signing them up here.
We'll make a special exception for them. They got the genetics.
They're tall.
Yeah, and they're going to be studs. So we'll get them in our K through 5 program, maybe before they're in K. We'll call it. We'll give them the pre-K through 5 treatment.
Okay.
But no, and that's where the next step needs to be. There needs to be a building on the east side that's funded, has a high, and once again, Emerald Youth does this, but just another place that they can walk to, whether it's from Austin East or wherever, and that's like, these a lot of our kids, they come down here, they do their workout, and their parents are waiting in the parking lot. Some of our scholarship kids, they're here for 2 more hours, and we were figuring out, we got transportation, we got all these, because that's the big issue is how do they get here? How do they get home? And the way Knoxville high school sports has become, it's easy to pick them up from school. We got a bus out front. You've seen the crazy Triple F bus. We pick them up from school. They live everywhere. So then getting them home and having a driving system, and we're rolling. I mean, we're operating it right now. No one knows who those kids are. It's nobody's business. They're Triple F members. And they come in here and they get every single perk that everyone else gets.
Yeah, because I would have never known unless you told me.
Yep. And that's the way I want it to be. That's the way it's going to stay. And it's kids that we're going to serve long term. And I need some folks in this community to come join me and do it. And it's going to be a lot of fun to watch these kids, because I'm getting sick and tired of hearing like all the athletes are in Atlanta, all the athletes are in Texas, all the athletes are in Florida. Well, like I said, there's so many more Power 5 kids, so many more big time players coming out of this area than there ever has been before, and there's still a bunch getting left behind because they're just in toxic environments. And Austin East is the big one, obviously, and then I grew up in the Fulton Central area a little bit. My family did. My dad grew up in the Fulton area. So it's funny, like I went over to see the Fulton football coach one day during school, and it's crazy because it's like you pull in the parking lot and there's like 6 cars in the whole parking lot. Then you go to Farragut and you can't find a parking spot. All the kids have cars. Right? It just awakens you of like, man, this is 8 miles away. It ain't like I went to Afghanistan or Nigeria.
It's true.
I went 10 miles down the road and
Triple F Nigeria.
We'd just do it. Just do it. That would be awesome. Tell your hubby I need him to run it.
No, he would. But no, I agree. It's like the gap between, middle class, upper middle class, and, people who just are living paycheck to paycheck and don't know if they can make it if some type of mishap happens. I mean, it's just widening. That gap is not what it was when we were kids, when there was a healthy middle class. Now it's so many people are struggling and they have good professions. I mean, they're working, they're hard workers, but they find it hard to, provide these types of luxuries for their kids where they can get training and where they can hone in on certain skills,
Absolutely, and that's what I'm trying to fix. I can't handle, our business model is so relatable to pro sports. Our membership model, we're only taking a certain amount of kids, but those spots are allotted for my NALB. They're allotted. We won't we're getting there fast. So we're gonna be on a waiting list, and everybody's gonna be crying here soon. I've been trying to tell everybody, right? But like those spots are for our NALB kids. We won't ever give a spot away. And if it fills up and we need more, we'll go raise money. We'll find some folks that are passionate, along with a lot of my former teammates and athletes and people that are passionate about these young people. Everybody's passion is different. Some people's passion is food banks. Some people's passion is cancer. Some people's is the church only. They just donate their money to the church. That's their deal. And there's none of that's wrong. But I know there's a lot of people in this town and across the globe that are passionate about young athletes that didn't make it for reasons outside of their control. And hell with that. Excuse my language. Let's fix that, at least in our community. And then encourage others to do this, man. Triple F, we'll see what God has planned for it. It'll be cool. All right. Well, then now we talked about all the stuff that made your heart feel good, made my heart feel good. Your boys, Triple F, you. Everybody's going to want to hear about the one thing, the Lady Vols that's watching this. Talk to me a little bit about your experience there. I was supposed to be a Tennessee athlete, as everybody knows. Didn't happen. My father played at Tennessee. I've been here my whole life. So the Orange, Rocky Top, Lady Vols basketball, Shamiqua Hostclaw, all those girls were like my era as a kid. So I can't tell you one men's Tennessee basketball player from when I was younger. Now they're rolling. I know a few of those dudes' names because my boys are always talking about it. But the girls, Tamika Catchings, right, Shamiqua Hostclaw, all those girls. I mean, I vividly remember their names. That was Lady Vols basketball was this town, and Tennessee football. So, talk to me a little. How did you end up at Tennessee? Was it all Pat? Is that why you came here? How did you end up at Tennessee?
Um, where do I start? I was a pretty good player in high school. I wasn't skilled, but I worked really hard, and I was tall, obviously, and athletic. And so there came a point where I was getting recruited by really good schools. And I remember I went to my high school coach and I said, I'm happy I'm getting all these letters, but how come Tennessee hasn't sent me any letters? And he said, Nikki, you don't get to choose if you want to go to Tennessee. They choose you. And I was just like, well, what's wrong with me? Why aren't they choosing me? And I just would go over all these things in my head, why I wasn't good enough. I would tell myself it's because you have to have a 2-parent household to go to Tennessee, or it's because you have to be from the suburbs, or I would just make up all these reasons. And so I thought to myself, that lady, she doesn't want people like me at her school. And then one game, I was warming up. I was just in the layup line. We're about to get started with the game. And I looked to my right and I saw Pat Summitt. And I was like, is she here for me? And so I just played my little heart out. I was 16 years old and I just played so hard. I wanted her to think that I was good enough to go to Tennessee. And the next week, the letter came. Like that letter I had been asking my coach about, I got a letter from University of Tennessee. And so I came here on a visit and I just felt like it was home. And I had never been to Tennessee. I didn't even know where Knoxville was. Never heard of Knoxville, Tennessee before. Didn't even know where University of Tennessee was. I did know that they wore orange and they had like a pretty light blue in their uniform. But that's kind of it. That's all I really knew. I didn't even know where Tennessee was on the map. Like I literally didn't know anything. And I committed here. And there were 5 other McDonald's All-Americans. And so the 6 of us came in together. And it was tough. It was tough.
Mainly because of Pat?
Pat was a tough coach. Yeah.
So, and God rest her soul. I mean, what a legend. But I've heard the word crazy. I've heard the word wild, hard, tough. Like I've been called crazy plenty in my life. But just like you love her, but you don't like her all the time.
No.
Right? And but she refuses to let you do anything but hold that trophy up if that's what you're capable of. And y'all held it up.
Yeah, she was tough. I mean, her expectations for us were so high. And she taught me that. Like, my expectations for myself were too low. And she taught me to expect more from myself and to never be satisfied with the level I'm on, to just keep fighting and striving to do better. And so many lessons and so much of the way I am today is because of her. She was
awesome.
just a special coach.
Was she ever loving?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was like a mama.
Yeah.
Like, you don't like your mom all the time.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right? Like sometimes your mom has to get real with you about some things that you're doing or some things you need to improve. And she got real with us. And I didn't maybe appreciate it at the time because I was too young. But now, like, I just wish I still had her.
How cool is that? and once again, and I get chills because as humbly as this possibly can sound, it always brings it back to Triple F for me because it's like encouragement of like, all right, Lee, because it's been stressful. I mean, building this place, I didn't make $100 million playing football.
Right.
For everyone out there, I did really well for myself, and I'm really blessed, and I'm so thankful that God blessed me with a pro football career. But I wasn't making the money that a lot of these guys make. Triple F. The building, it was a crazy time to build something. It was expensive, and it's like, all right, God, like why do you continue to push me into uncomfortable waters? I'm going to trust you, but this is getting uncomfortable, right? And just you hear that, and it's like the number one influence in kids' lives outside of their parents. And by the way, some don't have parents, Nikki, and if they do, they're not raising them right. They're not doing right, especially in the world of athletics. typically those are the athletes that grow the most, is the ones that just want to live at the ball field, live in the gym. When you live in 10,000 square feet and you have PlayStation at your beck and call and food in the fridge, you're not as motivated to stay in the gym all day long. You want to go home and play. So all these kids and people come from vicious backgrounds. Who impacts them the most in their life? Their coach.
Right. And
then if Triple F can be another little glue piece for their life and motivate them, along with all these wonderful high school coaches around here and sport league coaches and all that stuff, it fires me. But Pat Summitt, to see you get tears in your eyes and be fired up about that woman, it just shows that she was literally a legend.
Yeah.
A legend of legends. Like no one can touch her.
Yeah.
So Lady Vols basketball, all you girls. So it was like, I mean, at the end of the day, it was like the Shamiqua Hostclaw, Tamika Catchings, that group, and then y'all's group are the two legends of Lady Vol basketball, right?
Yeah.
Because you and Candace were around the same age.
Yep, we're the same age. So Samika Randall and Shamiqua Hostclaw and Tamika Catchings, all of them were before us, but they used to come to practice. And we were so competitive against them because we were like, this is our chance, And but them coming to practice was so huge because we understood the way we were supposed to conduct ourselves when they came. And culture is another major influence. And the culture there that those ladies built was something that, they were such big shoes to fill. But when they came back and played with us at practice, it was like we understood how a Lady Vol was supposed to behave, So we owe a lot of our success to them. Not just from growing up watching them, but because they took time out of their busy schedules to come back and be with us,
That's awesome. So were they in the WNBA at that point, or they already retired? I don't know how what's that?
They were in the WNBA, still playing at that point, and they were Olympians.
That's awesome. And they're coming back to pouring to you girls. That's what it's all about. I tell guys all the time in the NFL, like, they ain't going to listen to the coaches all the time. Like, Pat's going to make you mad. You're like, why won't she just get off my back? Why won't she just let me be? Like, just one day, give me some peace, Coach Summitt. I don't know, you probably didn't call her Pat. Coach Summitt, I'm assuming, right?
Pat.
You called her Pat? Well, that's how pro sports is. It's first name. That's what I tell all the kids here. Call me Lee. That's what I'm used to. So, Pat. But when Shamiqua Hostclaw says something to you, you ain't going to say a word, but, yep, got it. You got it. You got it, sister. Same thing.
But they were not self-righteous. They were very loving. I remember I had anger problems in those days, and I was very confrontational with one of my teammates. Like, I was literally about to fight her. And I was a New York City girl. Like, that's just what we do. But I remember Shamiqua Hostclaw pulled me to the side, and she's also a New York City girl. And she just told me, she gave me a good talking to and told me that that's not how I should conduct myself and that it was unacceptable behavior. And that's what I needed.
Yeah. Changed everything. Because you respected her so much. If all our elite players will just do that and give back, like Shamiqua Hostclaw, if you're out there, you changed Nicky Anosike's life.
You did.
Pat Summitt changed your life. And based off of what you spoke on your father a minute ago, you loved him. He was a great role model and a great man. But still, you still needed raising when you left your family.
Yeah.
And that's what college athletics does. And regardless, the young people from 18 to 22, they're not fully raised yet.
No.
They need so much guidance.
Your brain is not fully developed till 25. Like.
and that's what's funny to me is I talk to people all the time, and it's the same thing. And it's like, how do these guys blow their money? Like, I just don't understand. And da-da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, well, first off, you didn't have $5 when you were 22 years old. And so in your brain, you're thinking, if I would have. Well, it's easy to say what you would have done in someone else's shoes. And I'm not saying that guys that blow $100 million playing pro sports are brain surgeons. At a certain point, you got to have a little bit of sense. But from 22 to 25, which, by the way, is the league average in most professional sports, like, you make a couple $1,000,000 before your brain's fully developed and you don't understand financial literacy, and all of us make mistakes. I look back and I'm like, my God, I should have a lot more money in the bank. But I was a young idiot. And I was living my life and loving my family, and we were just partying. And I didn't grow up with a dad that was a CPA or a financial planner or a money guru. I grew up with a dad that was a drunk ball player. You know what I mean? So it's like it's like that time from 18 to 22 in college, and then after you get out, whether it's pro sports or even the real world, we still need guidance, man. So pour into people and be loving when you do it. You can be assertive. You can be borderline confrontational, but be loving. Help these young people grow because you can impact their stinking lives. For crying out loud. So you cut the net down. That was Pat's last one, right? So you cut last one for Pat. All you girls send her into the sunset. Literally now, she's looking down on us today. So after that, WNBA. Talk to me. How's the WNBA? Now I know nothing about. This is a world I know nothing about.
I had a good career. I really, really enjoyed the WNBA. But it's a tough life. You're traveling all the time. It's a very condensed season. And at that time, I was playing overseas in the off season. So I would play overseas for 7.5 months and then come back and play WNBA for 4. So I didn't really have a break. And I did that for 6 years. And then my body just kind of gave up on me. But while I was playing, I was pretty successful. I was a WNBA All-Star. I was just named one of the top 25 players in the history of the Minnesota Lynx, and all rookie team, all WNBA defensive team. So I got, some pretty decent accolades and did pretty well, but I just didn't have a long career.
Yeah. So why did you play overseas? Financial reasons? Mm-hmm. Because they didn't.
I think my rookie year, I was making. I think my salary was like 28,000, and then after taxes, I might have made 20.
In the WNBA?
Mm-hmm.
It's bananas. Mm-hmm. I was looking the other day. I think the highest. Now, obviously, I'm not talking about sponsorships and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. I'm sure a few of the big time girls have, a few branding deals and different things. But I think the highest paid player in the WNBA today is like $350 to $400 or something.
Oh, I would have loved to make that. I mean, I think my first 3 years, I might have made $20,000 a year. So I made like $60,000 my first 3 years, and then I got signed to a max contract at that time, which was like 105. But it was a good life. At that time we weren't playing for the money. It just wasn't about that. We just loved the game, and we were excited to have that opportunity to play pro sports, because when we were really young, coming up, our only hope was to play NBA. Like, we would be like, I'm going to be the first woman in the NBA. Like, that's just what we all used to say. So we were just more excited for the opportunity to play pro sports in front of our families.
I love it. When did the WNBA officially start?
98, I believe.
What was your first year?
08.
Oh, wait.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't even know what to say about a professional athlete making $20,000. That's bananas, right?
You gotta love the game.
No question.
You do it for the love,
No question. That's one thing I say all the time too, is like all these former NFL guys that come out and they have all these issues, and it's a complaint session, and they used and abused me, and I'm like, listen, guys, if they would have handed every one of us a waiver and said, sign your life away, if you get broken in half, no matter what happens to you, you still would have played.
Mm-hmm.
Like all of us, our dream our whole life was playing the NFL. And listen, you get used and abused. My cattle up in Clinton, Tennessee get treated better than some NFL guys, right? Like, but guess what? They're paying us a lot of money to play football. So I was a union rep for a long time. I'm a pro player. I'm not going to have any NFL owners on here. I can promise you, most likely, maybe one or two down the line. If they want to come on, we'll just sit here and argue. But I'm a player guy. I'm player. But man, all of us would play for free. Give me a break. Now, maybe not for free, especially as you get older and have a family. But the money that league's producing now, especially with the TV stuff, it's just bananas. And then to leave and cry like you didn't know what you were getting into. Like, it's not a real big secret that I'm going to break bones. I'm going to have to eat painkillers to get through the next game. And when they give them to me, I eat them. It's not like I eat them thinking, this is great for me. You know what I mean? So, but once again, I am pro player, and I will fight to the death to get the players' rights in every sport better. But you're exactly right. Like, sometimes you get spoiled once they actually start paying you so much, and there's so much for football players. I mean, it's crazy. And then to hear you say I played for $60,000 over 3 years, take home money, that is, and just because you love the game, people need to hear that, man, because that's what it's all about. It's the best job in the world, being with your buddies and just competing. Well, we've talked about those babies, Triple F, Nicky Anosike basketball camp coming up soon at Triple F. You got some big stuff coming. What do you got coming up here soon? It's the deal over at Tennessee, right? That we talked about that a little bit.
Yeah, so last year I taught a class at University of Tennessee, and it's Pat Summitt Definite Dozen. They're like 12 maxims that she came up with throughout her career, where she found out that if she did these 12 things, she would attain a certain level of success. And so she wrote a book on it, and we don't want that message to get lost. And so I've been teaching this class at University of Tennessee. Last year was my first year. This is my second year teaching it. And it's for high school students, just trying to teach young kids about the lessons that Pat Summitt taught me every day for 4 years when I played for her.
I love it. So when is it?
I don't even remember the dates, but it's in July.
July. So is it boys, girls, everybody?
Everybody, yeah.
Everybody. Come learn the Pat Summitt way, which, by the way, works.
Works.
Yeah. Changed your life, impacted your life. So the Pat Summitt tutorial and lessons in July, and then we'll have a basketball camp here, or if numbers blow up, we can't handle it here. We'll figure out something if we got to rent gyms out across town. But Nicky Anosike basketball camp, and then Nicky Anosike Pat Summitt. I'm gonna bring my boy.
Yeah.
Bring Brody over there. He's the only one I have in high school.
He would love it.
Maybe I'll haul the Bearden football team over there. At least
that would be awesome.
At least the linemen. They because those are my guys, the big boys. You know that. You see me in here on Saturdays, acting up with all my big boys. They don't get enough love.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I like how you push them. They need it.
Yep. So, all right. Well, let's get some people there. That sounds great to me. I just always have loved Pat Summitt. There's just something about her that, and I'd never met her. I mean, I might have brushed shoulders with her. My dad played at Tennessee, and I'd been over there my whole life. My mother-in-law's worked over in the football office for 30 years, and Tennessee in general has been a big part of my life. So I'm sure I was around her, but never intimately. But I just had so much respect for her. It's cool to hear you talk about her, because that's what I want to be as a coach, is like, you might not like me all the time, but there's going to be zero doubt in your brain that I love you, period. And no one's going to celebrate your success more than me. But you are going to hate me sometimes. And I kind of like that. And when you're 26 and you're a first-time father, or you get your first promotion, I pray that you say, you know what, man, that little 2% came from Lee. And I hated him in the moment, but I'm glad that he didn't. Everybody wants to please these, like even the parents. Like, my God, like, you're scared to hurt your kids' feelings. Like, sometimes you got to, and not hurt their feelings and make, like, upset them without breaking them. It's a balance, and every kid has a different breaking point. But you got to figure out what they can truly handle, because life ain't going to be fair to them. Like you just said, that poverty gap is growing. The middle class is shrinking. Why? Because no one cares about you in the real world. And the people that do care about you, appreciate it and be thankful for it. Because real love is hard. It doesn't feel good all the time.
It's an action. It's not just your words, It's every day showing up and showing these kids that I'm here for you. And that's what I love about Triple F, is we're here every day showing these kids we're never going to let you down, and we'll be here every step of the way, even when it's hard.
Yeah. I love it. You're the best, woman. Much love. You know I love you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of this place. Having you, and you're not just the fact that you played in the WNBA, but the fact that you're you makes us better, makes me a better man, makes these kids better. And I love it. And thank you for pouring into this place and being so passionate about it. Anything else on your mind you want to talk about?
Thank you for having me.
My girl. I love it. Give me a hut. That's football, by the way. Can you give me a hut?
Hut.
Yeah, girl.